Welcome to our third leg this Sunday night on Father's Day. Boomer Takes with Pete and Jake on our longest day of the year, the summer solstice. You're listening to us on 1220, 103.7, the Blowtorch, KOFO. You can always listen live on KOFO.com and grab this show by podcast on KOFO.com. Click the podcasts tab and look for Boomer Takes with Pete and Jake. I'm John Jacobson, and my colleague, buddy, friend, and co-host, Dr. Peter W. Tinsman, M.D. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, everybody, from our capital of Topeka to the Kansas City suburbs, to Rock Chalk, Jayhawk Country, KU's capital of Lawrence, and all the folks in Franklin, Anderson, Lynn, Miami, Osage, Douglas, Johnson counties on this sunny and rainy, but beautiful Sunday, Father's Day here. Pete, how you doing, man?
John, I am doing just great. It's a rainy day here in eastern Iowa, but it's been raining most of the day, actually. So but that's okay. I'm okay with it.
We had 1.5 inches overnight. This has been a very wet spring in Kansas. I know that eastern Nebraska and western Iowa are having a deluge. People have got water in their basement, etc., etc. Of course, I always know that by August here, everything's always brown, but we'll take this while we can get it. Saves us on watering our Rose of Sharon shrubbery. Pete, you want to touch on a couple things today. Let's cue up your agenda, and then I got a couple things I want to visit about. Happy Father's Day to you. You're a great dad of 4 very successful kids, and you yourself had a great father. Take it away, Pete.
Well, that's why I just like, Father's Day, it's important. It's when you think about, I never used to think much about it. My dad never thought much about Father's Day, thought it was a Hallmark holiday. But, when you think about all the things fathers do for the family and for the kids, it really is important, and I miss my dad, and I've had all my kids contact me today. And, they're in their 30s now, and it's interesting how they're now able to recognize the things that I was trying to teach them when they were younger, like, hey, geez, Dad, you did a really great job. We thought that was dumb at the point when you were telling us that, but yeah, that really makes a lot of sense now.
Isn't that something? that is just so edifying. I guess if your kids still talk to you as adults, that's something. I had one of my children called 4 a.m, which was great. He had water in his basement issues. Always glad to be of help there, even at 4 a.m. And
I would be saying, it's 4 a.m. I don't live by you, and I don't know what you're going to do about the water, but this is not the time to.
He got off work at 3:30, so I think he was still in the beta zone. His circadian rhythm was different from mine. Then my daughter this morning with her brand new baby called to wish Happy Father's Day, and we'll be with the other child, our son, our other son, who's got 4 of our grandbabies today. So it's always a blessing to be able to spend that day. Yes.
Yeah, that's something.
Pete, I think it's a problem in our culture today, though. Our great society that may have had good intentions in the 1960s to eradicate poverty instead has institutionalized poverty, given us multi-generational poverty by squeezing the father out, and it has ruined our culture. Frankly, it's ruined Western civilization in North America. What say you?
Yeah, boy, I know, I understand what the intent was back then, that was what, 40 years ago, 50 years ago? No.
Yeah, 60 years ago, 60, yeah.
60 now. I mean, when you think about
Lyndon
it.
Baines Johnson in about 1966, right around there.
What's the 60? Isn't that really something? It's like,
yeah.
It just kind of goes to show how, hey, this is the intention. Look at look at, Medicaid, Medicare,
Yes.
and social programs they start for a good reason. But then they just get corrupted and things go off the rails. When you think about it, generational poverty, generational having to or in being on public assistance for generations. That kind of, I don't really get that. I don't understand that. I was raised that you have to work really hard and nobody's going to help you. You've got to do it yourself. The opportunities aren't just going to come to you. You got to go look for them.
Pete, 40% of the children in our area here are on food assistance.
40%.
Yep. It is what it is. Facts are stubborn things.
Wow, that's high. What's going to happen?
It's sobering.
What's going to
It's
happen?
very sobering.
What's going to happen is
Well,
artificial
the problem
intelligence starts
is,
creeping in and
Pete,
jobs.
Pete, I'm going to be so bold as to say what we need is more toxic masculinity, not less. I'm kidding somewhat, but what some say is toxic masculinity is necessary masculinity. The masculinity needed to defend a nation from enemies, foreign and domestic. Masculinity needed to do sometimes manual labor, tough physical jobs to provide, whether it's housing or shelter or food. As our Kansas agribusiness professionals do so well here. It's hard work, it's dangerous work out on the farm, folks. And we need, if you look at TV sitcoms and programming, the father's always portrayed as some sort of idiot or soft sap and domineered by maybe a hectoring spouse. And kids see this and they model this, or they believe this is how things are supposed to be. And, I think we need to bring back John Wayne and Matt Dillon and Ben Cartwright for my money. What say you, Pete?
Well, I'll tell you. So one of my sons, he's 34 and he lives in Poland, and since he graduated from college, he's lived all over Eastern Europe. Except for a few years, he came back to the U.S. and was like, "Oh, I got to go back." And why he loves Eastern Europe?
Oh, the Poles are the greatest people on the planet. I can make an argument. They are the toughest. They even under communism and Nazism, they never threw off their Christian roots.
No.
They are a strong, brave people. And when Pope John Paul II rallied them, he and his Catholic Christianity crushed communism along with Ronald Reagan and Margaret Thatcher in the late 70s, early 80s.
Oh, I mean, and it's like, and they have a very, he was in Bulgaria, he was in Republic of Georgia, Hungary, and now Poland, and they all have very similar cultures. They conservative, men have very traditional roles, and women have typically very traditional roles, and nobody's looked down on that if you live in if you have traditional values. It's like it's really coveted over there. It's like this is who they are, and they feel it's very important. They think it's very important, and there's it's important that women are getting educated, and if they want to go work, and that's great. I mean, there's people aren't looked down upon because of that, but it's like, if you want to have a more traditional lifestyle, it's like, hey, great, fantastic. We're here. I don't know. My daughters sometimes say, after we have kids, stop working, people are going to look down on me. I thought, no, I think it's starting to shift. And now we could go to Charlie Kirk and what he was trying to get across to these young kids, which was working. And now, unfortunately, that's no longer there.
I agree, Pete. I agree 100% with you. And I want to explore this a little further. Poland runs contrary to what's going on in Europe. Europe has had a calamity befall it right now. I will just showcase the recent article that has come out. It was a cover-up in Britain. The Prime Minister is going to resign on Monday, but there's a cover-up in Britain with their massive allowance of mass migration in Great Britain. 250,000 young girls and women have been raped, largely by migrants, just in Great Britain over this time period, all covered up, and all were considered expendable casualties in a war to be politically correct.
And I just don't get that. France is having its problems with all their migration. I don't know. It just, and why, when we see this going on in Europe, in these different countries in Europe, and these same sorts of things are starting here. We're not as far along as some of the countries are in Europe. why do we want to go down that road? Why do people want to take us down that road in this country? I'd love to hear. I'd love to hear the argument. We should have somebody on as a guest who could say these are the reasons why we should be allowing more migrants from different parts of the world. Why having Islam religion be a more important portion of U.S. culture.
Well,
Why that's
precisely.
important. Why
It,
that's
it,
important.
well, it's precisely for a variety of reasons. One of it is to uproot Western civilization.
Okay, but
Sharia law has to uproot the Constitution and common law, which everyone from Western Europe to the United States to India, the nation of India even, is founded on common law, the Magna Carta, those types of principles, and the idea of cheap labor for the greedy. And of course, these immigrants often are taking advantage of themselves because they're just pawns in this ongoing struggle as well.
Yeah, I just don't understand it. I would really like to hear what's the reason why.
I think you can trace directly from the French Revolution and the Enlightenment. Everything went south with that model. The model that worked was the U.S. Revolutionary War based on the Declaration of Independence and the U.S. Constitution, whose tenets are that we are endowed by our Creator with rights that are inalienable. The French revolutionaries all ended up killing each other, as did the Marxist-Leninist revolutionaries, with Stalin making sure there's an axe planted in Trotsky's head as far away as Mexico. That Enlightenment atheistic secularism does not respect human life, and therefore anything is fair play. And that's precisely how we had the genocidal mania of these communist dictators, and frankly, the genocide by the Middle Eastern. Actually, they were from the European peninsula, against the Armenians. That genocide right after World War I, where the Christian Armenians were tortured and raped and murdered at the hands of a group from a Middle Eastern group that has been fighting Christians and Jews for centuries. With the American Revolution, we believe that the rights come from God, not from the state, and that's really the difference, Pete.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So what about, there's this article. I don't know if you saw it.
Yes, I want you to. This is the
about,
segue. I want you to explore this because it's a great article.
About France.
Yep.
And
Take it away.
How, this article is talking about how the Muslim Brotherhood has moved into France and is altering that, landscape significantly. And they say, the theory is that they come in and they choose the right target, which happens to be people who are poor, forgotten, people who feel angry and lost, and they get them to feel part of something. And
this has been very successful in prisons. That this is a kind of an approach they've used in prisons as well.
Yeah, that's a good point. Excellent point. And they said France currently has between 100,000 and 200,000 Muslim converts, despite, these people are all native-born French citizens. And so it works that way. And then you look at the birth rate. With the Muslim birth rate over there is every woman's having between 3 and 3.5 children, compared to the broader French population that women are only having 1.5 children. And I think in the U.S., our birth rate is like 1.6, was last I saw.
Right.
And
right.
so you get converting people, and then you get, Muslims having more children. And, the France is saying there in this article, they were saying that they project that the Muslim population in France to be 17 to 18% of their entire population by the year 2050. So, and they just have different culture. They talk about building a parallel society. And it says that their goal is to make the outside world unnecessary. So, brick by brick, the Brotherhood builds a complete parallel civilization within the bones of the French Republic, a world with its own schools, clinics, legal advisors, bankers, butchers, matchmakers, and funeral services.
The problem is an alternate legal system, Pete, because they refuse to accept or follow the laws of the nation that is hosting them, and oftentimes have a legal system that actually is abusive toward human rights.
Yeah, it's and they talk about it as developing its own ecosystem, and it's self-sustaining. And you were just talking about legal, and it says in these ecosystems, the rules are not French; they are unwritten, and no one enforces them by violence because it is unnecessary. Enforcement is social, total, and suffocating. A woman who leaves the house without a veil finds her neighbors stop greeting her. A shop owner who stocks wine watches his customers disappear one by one until the math no longer adds up and the bottles come off the shelves. And so it's very interesting. Is this a comment at all of what goes on in Somalia? Or excuse me, up in Minneapolis with the Somali population?
Well, and the fraud has been so rampantly off the charts. It is breathtaking. And this was done with a wink and a nod. And, Pete, I know that we're running quite a deficit in this nation, but it would be a lot less if it weren't for the abject fraud. I mean, I can't believe how much has been stolen from us. Don't even go and talk about all of the billions of dollars of COVID loans that went out during COVID. I mean, you wonder why we have inflation.
Oh,
It's off the charts in part
yes.
because of all the free money that was given out during the pretext of COVID.
Absolutely. How many? We got about trillions.
Yeah. It's really quite breathtaking. So we've got to get a hold on this, obviously. But Pete, there is a good side to this story. So our lying media, I'm going to close with this. Our lying media told all these foreign folks that the United States was terrible and Americans were bad people. And now hundreds of thousands have come to America for the FIFA World Cup. And they not only love Americans, they love America. And in a social media age, the word has gone out across the world. We were lied to about America. It's free, it's great, whether it's Buc-ee's or the barbecue or the friendly people, no greater place than America. The world now has become true believers to the horror of the mainstream media.
Well, you know what? Interesting. My son, who lives in Warsaw, is dating a girl there. I had asked him. I said, "So does she want to come to the United States? Or has she ever been to the U.S.?" And she hasn't. And she's afraid to come to the U.S. because she's afraid she's going to get shot. And a lot of people that he has encountered from Eastern Europe all feel the same way. I don't want to go to the U.S. because I'm going to get shot. And it's great that the World Cup is there. And I've seen those same things on the news, just like you have, that people are like, this is great. This is fantastic. Do we have our problems? Yeah, we have our problems. Do all countries have their problems? Yes, they do. But United States is a phenomenal country. And all of us, regardless of our political affiliation, should be very proud that we live here. And there was a thing I saw on the news that asked, will you fly an American flag on 4th of July? And it was like roughly 60% of Republicans said they would, but only 27% of Democrats say they would. What's all that about? We have a great country. Don't be convinced. Don't listen to this, call it propaganda that says we're a horrible place, because we're not.
America, as Ronald Reagan said, is the last best hope for democracy in the world. And Pete, America has saved the planet from famine after World War I and World War II, and from authoritarian totalitarianism, both during World War I and World War II, and in the Cold War, ancillary to that. And Pete, I'm a Yankee Doodle dandy, a Yankee Doodle do or die. I'm a real-life nephew of my Uncle Sam. I was born on the 4th of July. I've got a Yankee Doodle sweetheart. She's my Yankee Doodle joy. Yankee Doodle went to London just to ride the ponies. I am that Yankee Doodle boy.
Geez, John, that is amazing. You wrote that yourself?
No, but if you watch Yankee Doodle Dandy on TCM or your favorite streaming service, I highly recommend the great James Cagney in his Academy Award winning role, Yankee Doodle Dandy. That's a great movie. And then top it off by watching John Wayne in The Sands of Iwo Jima, that great World War II movie that earned John Wayne his first Oscar Academy Award nomination for Best Actor. And Pete, you are a great American. I wish you and your family a great Independence Day, because we're going to talk a little bit more about that as we get to the holiday next week. But in the meantime, happy Father's Day to you, great American.
Well, thanks, John. Happy Father's Day to you.
So, guys, tune into this great podcast. Pete and I will be back next week talking about the semi-quincentennial of our great nation and some of our favorite movies celebrating the spirit of America. In the meantime, grab this podcast, Boomer Takes, on KOFO.com. Click that tab Sean Torres has set up for podcasts and listen to this show. And for Pete Tinsman and Sean Torres, Dr. Peter Tinsman, MD, and Sean, this is John Jacobson saying stay tuned for the rest of our great lineup tonight and grab the podcast. We'll be back next Sunday as we start to celebrate the 4th a little bit early. In the meantime, be safe, be smart, be good, be strong, love Jesus Christ, and God bless us, everyone. God bless America. Till we meet again, bye-bye.